Very good afternoon to everyone. I'm Dr. Shovik Chatterjee, head of the department, GIS University, Department of Juridical Sciences. Well, this is my next group of lectures in the context of law of evidence. As far as law of evidence is concerned, in my preliminary lecture, I had mentioned that law of evidence is directly related to the Indian Evidence Act, and the Indian Evidence Act had been enacted in 1872. Continuing with the lecture as such, as far as the Indian Evidence Act is concerned, there are a lot of things which are in the context of what has to be presented before a court of law. So there are questions related. Uh, the next question in the context of may presume, shall presume, and conclusive proof, there is a degree in the context of how much the court should actually presume. Well, as far as the first part is concerned, the may presume part, the court may presume certain facts which, in the absence of any other established documentations, the presumptions are light presumptions. I can give one single example. If stolen property, they are being found in custody of a particular person, then the court may presume that the person in whose custody the stolen property has been found is the thief, or is the person who is involved with the stealing. Generally speaking, theft is defined under section 378 of the Indian Penal Code. So that is the first question relating to may presume. Regarding shall presume, it's a stronger presumption. There are different provisions under Indian Evidence Act. I can just give one respective provision, that is section 113 B, which says 113A, which says that whenever there is a question of unnatural death of a particular woman, and the death takes place within 7 years of marriage, and thereafter there is a reference relating to systematic ill treatment of the husband and in-laws regarding demand of dowry or any other respective requirements, then the court shall presume that the death had been the result of the systematic ill treatment of the in-laws. There is a concept of conclusive presumption. Conclusive presumptions are there under section 41. It's there under section 112. The presumptions in respect of probate jurisdiction, admiralty jurisdiction, matrimonial jurisdiction, and also there are presumptions relating to legitimacy, whether the child is the child of the father or not. In those cases, as far as the law of evidence is concerned, conclusive presumption generally leads to the court thinking that the presumption is absolutely conclusive, and the presumption is such that there is no scope of rebutting those presumptions by the opposite party. If the prosecution places that particular presumption into place, and the magistrate admits the presumption, the facts in issue are admitted. In that case, there is no question of any rebuttal of that particular presumption. These are the basic things in the context of presumption, firstly speaking. Now, continuing with presumption, the next question comes up in the context of the fact of relevancy. Now, it is a general rule with respect to the Indian Evidence Act that only facts in issue and relevant facts, they are admissible in evidence. And facts in issue and relevant facts are those facts which directly are related to the particular case, without which, whether it's a criminal or whether it's a civil, the entire establishment of the guilt or the entire establishment of any civil wrong cannot be established. So the relevance is a very serious thing, and right from section 6 till around section 55, the major provisions with respect to Indian Evidence Act is directly related to the question of relevancy. And as far as relevancy is concerned, everything which is relevant, they are only admitted in a court of law. Now, question of relevancy starts off with the concept of hearsay evidence. Now, to be honest, hearsay evidence includes those evidences where the person who is actually deposing before the court of law doesn't actually have seen the event to have occurred, but had heard it from someone, and by hearing that, whatever the person had interpreted, that part itself is admitted before the court, and that part becomes relevant. The question is, hearsay evidence has very low value in the eyes of the different courts.